All right, and now I'm live, and it is
Perfect.
me and James Staley. Let's see if I can get us both on the screen. Oh, that's just you. There we go. So on mine, we can see me, we can see you, and if we want to, we could even see my desktop. And we got all the annoying people that are writing to me on Facebook right now. I got to find a way to mute that. Um,
Sweet.
but anyway, so I'm,
We're
I'm, I'm
talking artwork. Today we're
we're-
talking about the white squirrel specifically. We're coining the mangy white
the
squirrel. Uh,
mangy white squirrel. Right.
yeah. So just for people who maybe haven't followed along, we have this amazing artist, Mitch, to slap out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He is doing the artwork for Nutty Squirrels, the board game, which we're going to be coming out with probably in the back end of this year. We'll see kind of where we land. And we came across this kind of discussion point, and these are just very, very rough sketches. And I just want to explain that too. This isn't final art. This is rough sketches as we try to build out these squirrel personalities. And the white squirrel, one thing that came up is should we go with red eyes? You know, it's a white squirrel. You might think of the movie Flushed Away, where you got the albino bouncer, and he's got red eyes. And so Bobby was gracious enough to actually throw this out as a poll to the board game club to get other people's thoughts on it. So, how did the poll go, Bobby? Where do we land on that?
Well, James, let's go take a look right now with the magic of technology. And this is the poll as of what, like 2 minutes ago when I pulled this up. We were looking at it yesterday. It was at, I think, 53 to 53. It was split pretty evenly. And now it's still pretty close. We got the black squirrel at 65, black eyes, and then we got red eyes at 66. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit just in case anybody missed this poll. You can just search on the
Can
Board
you share
Game
the screen
Club.
at all, or
I'm sharing the screen right now, yeah. Oh, I'm not sharing it on yours though. I'm sharing it on my OBS. So let's see. So my screen is going to look like crazy on yours here.
that's
Hold on.
wow, yeah,
Let
that's
me get.
weird.
Yeah. So,
Lots going on. Okay, there we are. Somebody was even saying let's do blue eyes, which I thought was kind of interesting. You know what caught me on this was how much this discussion really turned into do albinos have red eyes,
yeah, that was the there's
right?
like articles linking like actually albinos don't have red eyes. They have let's see if we could
Yeah,
find that conversation here. A common myth is that people with albinism have red eyes. The lighting conditions can allow the blood vessels back there to be seen. Yeah, so reddish or violet. Most people have blue eyes, and some have hazel or brown eyes. So the more you know, right? Can you see my screen?
yeah,
Okay. Do you want to make me to
I
make
can.
this
Oh yeah, we
bigger?
can see it. Yeah,
Okay.
and I
Do you-
think that's something that people, anytime you start one of these discussions, you're thinking maybe one angle, and then it never ceases to surprise me that the conversation can quickly turn a different direction, right?
Yep.
And not necessarily in a bad way, but it definitely gets the thought process going. And I put a lot of thought behind this. And originally going into this, and I'm going to share my screen just real quick. So I think I need to take over. Yes, I'm going to take over sharing from your screen, and I'm going to share. Oh, let's see if I can find my. Do you mind unsharing your screen there, Bobby?
You know, I'd love to. I'm not good enough at Zoom. I don't know where you
I'm not
went.
quite sure how.
You're up here in the. You're in like a little window now instead of.
Yeah, I might be able to do it. Let me see if I can force you to
Wait. I
stop
have an idea.
sharing there.
Stop share. There we go.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen. So I've got the Photoshop that I did on the squirrel. So I want to let people again who haven't been necessarily following along. This is, and you can see this on my screen. What we have. So on the left is kind of the original sketch, again rough sketch by Mitch, our artist, which I like this kind of mangy kind of. The squirrel is maybe not lived in a tree for a little while, and he's just desperate to go and grab those acorns.
Yeah, he looks like he just rolled out of a dumpster or something.
Yeah,
Right?
he did exactly.
Almost like
Which I think
it's
is
like
kind of cool to add
feral.
a different personality to the squirrel. And then through Photoshop, I colored his eyes. Obviously, didn't do a great job. I just used like a paint bucket, fill-in tool. But I wanted to kind of get an idea of what his eyes would look like if they were red. My gut going into this was that it should probably be red eyes. White Squirrel, Red Eyes. I was thinking a lot about Flushed Away, which is a movie I used to watch tons of, like hundreds of hours I've watched of that movie when my kids were growing up. And that's kind of where my head was at. Now, when we got into this discussion, it's interesting, both as part of your poll, putting on the Tim Robot page, just reaching out to people I knew saying, hey, here's 2 pictures, what do you think? And while nobody's had issue with the black eyes, right? So everyone has been fine, think, oh, that's kind of a fun squirrel. As I said, it looks like he just rolled out of a dumpster. Maybe it's going to be his name, Dumpster, who knows? And
Dumpster the Squirrel, TM.
Hit Dumpster the Squirrel, exact TM. Let me write that one down.
Yeah, before that other guy says 2 months ago he came up with the character.
Yeah, but when the discussion around the red eyes, I heard everything from people saying, he looks evil, to, okay, if it's albino, then it has to be red eyes. You should be red eyes if you're saying this is an albino squirrel, which we never did. We said it was a white squirrel. And I've kind of actually been going back the other way now, where I'm thinking probably black eyes might be the better choice. The idea behind this game was to be fun, lighthearted. You can have the personalities, but certainly I think on the albino side, you're going to have a percentage of people that just really don't like that.
You don't want to add any controversy to the mix of Nutty Squirrels.
Yeah, and you can take that 2 ways. One is I don't like the idea of them being necessarily evil.
What about Rabbit?
Get away from that. But then 2, I put a lot of thought behind. People sometimes are born with differences, right? And albinoism is one of them. And there's actual people who have albinoism. And there's people I've known people who are albino in the past, and I'm sure many people watching have as well. And I never want to have a component of my game that makes somebody feel bad, if that makes sense.
So it's not so much that there is an albino squirrel; it's that it is also a mangy squirrel, and you don't want to be like, oh, the weird, like dirty albino. You don't want to make the negative sort of connotations and act like that was premeditated.
So any negative that I think we put in terms of how these squirrels are designed should be lighthearted and fun. Should make you smile. Right? Mm-hmm. So one idea that we've been talking about, and this will be maybe the next phase that we can go to and start talking to people about, will be the gray squirrel or the old squirrel. Where we had some thoughts behind that. Is he a crusty old man? Yeah. Is he more sweet, gentle?
Get off my branch.
yeah. Give me back my acorn, you rotten kids. Or is it, does he have like sagging cheeks, kind of like old people start having sagging body? There could be something kind of lighthearted there. So we'll explore that next. But I think on the white squirrel, where my head is at, is I'm thinking probably black eyes is the better way to go. And I'm glad we did this because I went in thinking red eyes. Yeah. So knowing that the audience is split tells me that it could go either way, but it's more the discussion around it.
It's actually, it's slightly more towards black eyes anyway. But yeah, there's certainly no negative. There's no downside to going with black eyes. I mean, I kind of like the idea of like maybe just like a slight tinge, like imagine like red with like 10% opacity or something like that over black. If we're talking Photoshop language, just that like little hint that he's got a little something going on there. But if we want to steer clear of the negatives or any connotation, then I think just straight black eyes is the way to go. So it's been interesting.
I think we can bring the crazy in with the manginess. I think if we tease out that manginess, I like the idea of the dumpster. That's actually pretty clever. So this dumpster squirrel.
Dumpster the squirrel.
Maybe he doesn't search in trees for his acorns. He goes to the local trash can behind someone's house. Right?
Yeah,
he's that squirrel.
That's the good stuff in there.
That's the sugar-coated stuff in there. So.
He wants like.
Yeah, that's kind of where my.
Like I was thinking like almost like the acorns that are in like a rotten pizza box kind of with like soda spilled all over it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and another thing we got to discuss too is where we're gonna have a 4-person version pledge level, which will be the lowest pledge level, so that it's got the lowest cost for people to get in. The 6th person will have 6 squirrels. So another thought process I have to go through is which squirrels are going to line up with which version, right? Because there's always going to be 2 extra squirrels. They're going to be part of the extended version. And I got to put some thought around that. What does that look like?
Yeah.
We've got a black squirrel right now that Mitch has been sketching out as well, which is this. It's a girl squirrel, and she kind of seems like almost like kind of like a cunning kind of foil to the brown squirrel, which is kind of cool. So,
I thought you were gonna say a sexy squirrel. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into her.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going for kink in this game, but hey, whatever floats somebody's boat, maybe this is what
Squirrel enthusiasts.
Squirrel enthusiasts.
So what do we have that's been revealed to the public so far? The brown squirrel has, right?
Yeah. So let me pull this.
Do you have the?
Yeah, let me
switch
pull
over
this up. We've got a number of squirrels. Let me see here. So, and if anybody wants to follow again my Instagram page, which is @TinRobotGames, Facebook page as well. Some of these I've also put on those pages. And certainly always looking for feedback. You don't have to wait for us to prompt you for feedback. If you want, you can, just say, hey, I have this idea and throw it at us. So here is, I'm going to share my screen, where we're at so far. So we've got our 6 characters for Nutty Squirrels. We've got the brown hero squirrel, the red squirrel. We like this red squirrel we're thinking is kind of like a sneakier type of a squirrel. And in talking with Mitch, some of the ideas we've had is when we get into some of these power cards, is we may actually use these squirrels images on some of these power cards as well. So if you get the flying squirrel, maybe we'll use the brown squirrel and show the brown squirrel flying. If you get the thief squirrel, maybe it's the red, this kind of sneaky red squirrel that's going to be the one that is the character on that card and so forth. So
okay, so the characters are going to make appearances in the powers potentially.
Yeah, we're thinking so. We, one option we had was to make like a generic squirrel for all the power cards.
Yeah.
But we did like this idea of having these characters appear in different formats and
recurring.
Yeah, even in the box, right? So you see like the brown squirrel here, it doesn't necessarily have big cheeks right now. So this might be how this character looks on the box, but on your actual player board, where you have big cheeks that have to hold acorns, we might make the cheeks bigger to hold the acorns and so forth.
Cool.
Likewise, some of these we can I think carry through to maybe the video or maybe some of the some of the discussion around the actual Kickstarter page itself.
Yeah. So speaking of, I'm going to switch back over to myself for a second.
Yep.
And actually, hold on one second. Let me just grab my link here because, as always, I like to show the link to the Kickstarter page. And I think I put this in. And this is all just sort of placeholder artwork, right? Even the pictures that we already showed, those are kind of like unfinished, right? They're gonna get some tweaks. We're gonna take some feedback and do some changes. And so the Kickstarter page here, which is linked in the description, this is all just kind of temporary, just a spot mainly for this button here, which is showing up as saved for me. But anyone viewing this who hasn't gone to this link yet, it'll say, what does it say? Notify me when this Kickstarter launches.
Yes, it says notify me when it goes live. And what that allows the people to do is literally as soon as this goes live, an email will go to them as well as a notification saying, hey, this campaign that you're following is now live. Yep.
So you could probably search Tin Robot Nutty Squirrels Kickstarter, but just to be safe, the link is in the description because there are other weird games that kind of have some similar language that you don't want to go to those.
Yeah, and actually, just for people out there, and I came across this when I was discussing on our podcast with Richard this past week, who, by the way, has got a great game called Duels of Cardasaur. It's a card game, 2-player card game. It's a battle game. He's on Kickstarter right now. Throw your support his way if you like battle card games. I'm going to share my screen too, just so people on my page can see, Bobby.
Sure.
So this page is any kind of preview page is non-searchable. So Kickstarter will not let you search a page. You actually have to have a direct link, which we'll put, of course, attached to this video. If you follow the link, it will take you to this page. and then you click the notify me on launch button, and when you hit that, it'll put you basically in the queue to make sure that you're notified. Of course, you can keep following these videos as well and see the progress as we go along.
Of course.
Yeah, what we have with Mitch is he's done rough sketches. We're framing this out right now, so getting the different characters finalized. Once we have kind of the personalities finalized, then he's going to go back and redraw them, vectorize them, clean them up, and really polish them. So yeah, I'd love to get people's feedback as we go.
Yeah,
maybe we'll jump into the gray squirrel next. On our next call, we'll do the gray squirrel.
Okay, that sounds good. We got gray, black, and a few others, right, that still have yet to be revealed or even drawn. So so it'll be interesting. But yeah, as James says, any feedback, make sure you drop it in the comments, send us messages, whatever, anything you guys want to know, and maybe we'll talk about doing print and play at some point if anybody is interested in testing it out.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Certainly print and play. Also Tabletop Simulator.
TTS.
The Tabletop Simulator version we've created with the old kind of stand in place graphics that we're using. But anybody that wants to try the Tabletop Simulator version, certainly send me a Tabletop Simulator invite to Tin Robot Games. That's my user handle. I'll give you access to the tabletop version. Love to have you play it. If you want to try the solo version, we're looking for feedback on the solo as well. So absolutely. And print to play, we'll get something going as well.
All right.
Nice. And thank you everybody for providing your feedback on the White Squirrel. That was awesome, that poll. I really appreciate you putting that together, Bobby. I thought there was a lot of good dialogue that came out of that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Went in ways that we weren't expecting. So that's always fun. So, all right. Well, that's about all we got. So let's do this often and let's get some thoughts and feedback.
Sounds good. Take care,
all right.
everyone.
See you guys.